On my 27th birthday, the room reeked of wealth. Crystal glasses caught the chandelier light. Perfumes mingled with laughter that didn't belong to me. And the soft clink of cutlery felt almost foreign. My grandfather raised his champagne flute, eyes twinkling with that infuriating calm. "Evelyn," he said, voice measured, "how are you spending your $3,400,000 trust fund?" The world tilted sideways. I blinked once, twice. Trust fund? What trust fund? Forks stopped in midair. My mother's hand froze as if suspended in time. My father's Adam's apple bobbed nervously, like he'd swallowed a jagged stone. And my grandfather, serene as ever, didn't flinch. "Where did the money go?" he asked, voice quiet but sharp enough to slice through the murmurs. In that instant, under the chandelier's soft glow, surrounded by polite smiles that didn't reach eyes, I understood this dinner wasn't a celebration. It was a reckoning. I am Evelyn Hart. Until that night, I thought I knew my family. I was wrong. I had grown up with rules that weren't written but drilled into me. Success is quiet. Smile when asked. Never voice dissent. And never ever mention money. Now living in San Francisco, far from their marble halls and polished Teslas, I carved out a modest life as a freelance designer. My apartment in the Mission District was small, walls peeling, pipes hissing, but it was mine. Nights blurred into sketching logos, coffee going cold beside overdue bills. While the city outside hummed in WHIR red. My parents, James and Victoria, lived just 20 minutes away in Marin County. 4 bedrooms, a pool, a Tesla for each of them. We spoke technically, but never about anything real. Conversations began with housework and ended before I could reply. The last time they'd truly surprised me had been my college graduation. I had walked across that stage, carrying $70,000 in student debt and a diploma I earned entirely on my own. They'd hugged me, handed me a wrapped box, and said, "We're so proud." Inside, a hardcover titled Financial Literacy for Young Adults. I forced a smile for the cameras, then cried quietly in the dormitory sink that night. Help wasn't in their vocabulary, so I learned to keep my head down. I paid my rent, skipped meals, grabbed every freelance gig I could, watched my friends' vacation photos, and laughed it off, thinking, one day I'll breathe. A week before my birthday, reality hit harder. My boss called me into his glass office, expression tight. "Evelyn, we're downsizing." I boxed up my things, took the bus home, and collapsed on my worn couch with Madison, my roommate, my anchor for 2 years. "They'll help, right?" she asked. I laughed, hollow and bitter. "They'll probably suggest a budgeting app." But I called them anyway. "Mom, I lost my job." "Oh, that's too bad, honey," she replied, keyboard clicking faintly in the background. "But you'll figure it out. You always do." "I'm behind on rent, Mom. I don't know how." "Well, maybe this will teach you to save better," she interrupted lightly. "Anyway, we're making reservations for your birthday dinner. Atelier Kren, 7:30. Don't be late. Don't be cheap, Evelyn. It's your birthday. Dress nicely, $300 a plate." I whispered the number to myself like a curse. "Half my grocery budget." Madison looked up. "You don't have to go." "Yes, I do," I said quietly. In my family, skipping dinner was sacrilege. I marked the date on the calendar like someone marking the day they'd face a firing squad. The week crawled. Resumes sent, portfolios updated, rejections piling higher than I could open. My savings dropped below 4 figures. Every noise outside my apartment made me flinch. By Friday, sleep deserted me. Madison found me at 2 a.m., laptop glow casting shadows across my exhausted face. "Eve, go to bed," she whispered. "I can't. If I stop, I'll think about it." "About what?" "That dinner. Them pretending everything's perfect while I'm unraveling." She squeezed my shoulder, words lingering. "Make it the last time they treat you like that." I didn't understand fully yet, but I remembered them. Saturday came bright and cold. I stared at the same 3 outfits in my closet: faded jeans, a blazer missing a button, and a black dress bought for a long-forgotten interview. The dress one, Mostly on the bus. I watched life unfold outside the window, tourists laughing, couples holding hands, a child with melting ice cream. Their ease made my chest ache. Atelier crème shimmered, glass and gold. My parents were already seated. My mother in silk red, my father in tailored navy. The table glittered with wine glasses and silverware I couldn't name. "Happy birthday, sweetheart," Mom said, air kissing my cheek. Perfume stung. "You look tired," Dad said. "Lost my job," I murmured. He nodded as if I'd mentioned the weather. Their conversation shifted to Europe trips. Tesla autopilot, bathroom renovations. I dissolved into the noise, counting minutes, counting breaths. I was a prop. Then the door opened. Silver-haired, tall, precise my grandfather entered. The room's rhythm stuttered. My mother faltered. "Dad, what are you doing here?" she asked, voice too high, celebrating my granddaughter. "Of course." He hugged me, warm and solid. The first genuine breath I'd drawn all night. "I didn't know you were coming," said. "Wouldn't miss it for the world." He sat. Whiskey neat, polite chatter masking an edge I couldn't place. As if he already knew something we didn't. Then, lifting his glass, he spoke words that shattered my world. "So, Evelyn," he said casually, "how do you spend your $3.4 million trust fund?" I froze. Blinked. Once. Twice. What trust fund? Forks halted. Mother's porcelain smile cracked. Father's throat moved as if swallowed glass. Grandpa leaned back, expression unchanging. "The trust I set up when you were born. Your parents were to transfer it when you turned 25. My mother laughed, too sharp. "Oh, Dad, you must be mistaken." "There was Victoria," he said quietly. "Don't." Her first motionless moment ever. A waiter appeared. "Private room, please." Within minutes, plates and champagne abandoned, we were ushered to a colder space. My grandfather's assistant, Michelle Tablet open. A man impeccably dressed, waited. Michael Anderson, attorney. "This won't take long," Grandpa said. "I just want clarity." Michael slid folders across the table. "Miss Hart, the trust account created under your name. Initial deposit, $1 million. Current value, approx $3.40 million. My fingers hovered. "Should be," he nodded grimly. "As of this morning, balance $200,000. The words hit like a hammer. 25 years nearly erased. Grandpa's eyes locked on my parents. "Explain." Dad's forehead glistened. "We used some to cover the mortgage when the market crashed." "Some? That's over $3 million, James," Grandpa said. A calm, lethal. Mom single quotes as hands trembled. "We were managing it for her future. To prevent waste," I laughed, ugly and sharp. "Waste, rent, loans, food." Grandpa raised a hand. Silence fell. Michelle listed withdrawals. Mortgage payoff $450,000. To Tesla Model S $280,000. Home renovation $320,000. Victoria Hart real estate investment $500,000 total loss. Then Malibu property $1.8 million registered to my parents. "Theft," Grandpa whispered. "From your daughter." They were quiet. Only the air vent, HUMMED. Grandpa pushed back. "Give me the keys." Mom reluctantly handed over a small keyring, trembling. He slid it to me. Warm still. 2 years late? My keys? My life? Mom sobbed. "Please, Dad, don't. Family doesn't steal," she said. "Lawyers tomorrow." They left. Door closing, air lighter, emptier. Grandpa turned to me. "I'll have a full audit. Consequences will come. But pressing charges. That's yours." I held the keys, cold metal, proof that love had a price. "I need time." "Take it," he said. But no, they plan to run. Costa Rica tickets bought 3 days ago. Storm in my chest. City lights blurred in fog. Madison waited. I told her everything. She stared. "They stole from you," she whispered. "Your own parents, not just money," I said. "Years." I looked out the window at the sleeping city and felt something break and something else a beggin'. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to beg. I was going to take everything back quietly. 3 days after that dinner, I was summoned to my grandfather's office. A glass tower downtown that looked like it could slice sky. I'd barely slept since the night of the reveal. The words they were planning to run played on loop in my head. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw me mother's trembling hand dropping thikis. My father's silence that felt like confession. When I arrived, Michelle was already waiting in the lobby, immaculate as always, tablet in hand. "They're here," she said quietly. "Robert wanted you present." My stomach tightened. "Both of them," she nodded. "They came to negotiate." Negotiate. That word tasted strong. The elevator opened to the top floor. Glass walls, leather chairs, Theffen's scent of cedar. And old money. Grandpa sat behind his desk posture, straight hands clasped. Across from him sat my parents. Dad looked 10 years older. Mom was trying to smile, but the gloss on her lips cracked at Theckerner's. "Evelyn," Grandpa said, voice steady, "sit." I sat opposite them. No one spoke for a moment. The only sound was the ticking of the antique clock on the wall. Finally, Dad cleared his throat. "We didn't mean for it to go this far. We were just desperate." Grandpa's voice was cold. "Trying to stay afloat," Dad said. "You wouldn't understand." "I understand greed." Grandpa interrupted. "He built an empire on recognizing it." Mom reached forward, tears already in her eyes. "We love her, Dad. We were going to tail her eventually, when after you finished selling the Malibu houselands." Michael Anderson, the attorney, stepped forward, setting a stack of printed bank statements on the desk. "The forensic audit is complete," he said. "Every transaction traced, every property connected. We've recovered approximately $2 million through asset seizures and forced sales." My father rubbed his temples. $2 million. You didn't recover it," Michael said sharply. "We did through the law." I watched the scene from what felt like outside my own body. Every lie peeled away, every secret dragged into the light. Michelle handed me a folder. Inside were photos of my parents' purchases. The Malibu property, luxury cars, jewelry receipts, cruise bookings, all funded by my trust. "You should know what they valued more on you," she said softly. I swallowed hard. "This is enough to press criminal charges, isn't it?" "Yes," Michael replied. "Felony, financial fraud, and breach of fiduciary duty up to 10 years. Mom gasped. "Evelyn, you wouldn't please?" Her voice broke like a child's, but I didn't flinch. "I didn't do this," I said. "You did." My father leaned forward, desperation bleeding through the confacade. "We made mistakes, but prison, we're your parents." "Parents protect," I said quietly. "They don't pillage." Grandpa turned to me. "It's your choice, sweetheart." The room blurred around me, the skyline behind glass, the papers, the trembling hands across the desk. It thought of 27 years of dinners where Iz smiled through silence of students. Loan side paid with ramen and overtime off birthdays where they sent flowers but not love. I met my mother's eyes. "You left me with nothing. Now you have exactly that." The words landed like thunder. Mom's shoulders collapsed. Dad looked away, jaw clenched. Gran panted once to Michael. "File then accessory motions." Mom reached across table, voice shaking. "Dad, please. She's your granddaughter and you are my daughter," he said. "But there's a difference between blood and character." She began to sob real this time. It wasn't for me. It was for everything they were losing. As the lawyers finalized the papers, I stood and walked to the window. The city stretched below, cranes, cars, the slow pulse of people living their lives. I pressed my hand tough glass, the cold grounding me. First time in years, I wasn't small. Behind me, I heard Grandpa say, "Keys." Deeds, accounts, all transferred back to Evelyn. Effective immediately. When Attorney Michelle handed me a slime envelope. "These are your property documents. Pacific Heights, fully under your name now." I nodded. "Thank you." Mom whispered something, her voice barely audible. "You'll regret this." I looked at her. Really looked? The woman who taught me to keep my voice soft, my needs smaller, my worth tied to approval. No, I said, for once I won't. They left soon after, escorted out by security. The door closed. The silence that followed wasn't heavy anymore. It was clean. Grandpa stood slowly, walking over Tome. You did the right thing. I don't feel good, I admitted. Justice rarely feels good, he said, but it's necessary. He put a hand on Miss Holder, firm and steady. You're no Deloney anymore, Evelyn. You never were. That night I went to see the apartment, the one I'd never been allowed to step inside. Pacific Heights was quiet, all glass and steel and bay views. The doorman recognized my name immediately. Mr. Hart said you'd be coming. When you locked the door, the smell of expensive candles hit me first. Everything was staged neutral tones. Marble counters, a coffee table, book about modern design. A stranger's life furnished with my money. I wandered through the rooms, fingertips brushing walls, the furniture. The evidence. On the counter, a lease folder, tenants' names, rent deposits. My parents had been collecting money for years. I sank onto the couch and laughed, the sound raw. Then the laughter broke into tears. Not grief anymore, but release. Madison arrived 20 minutes later, holding Take It. You're really here, Shu whispered, eyes wide. I'm home, I said. She looked around, smiled. So, how does justice feel? Quiet, I said, and heavier than I thought. We had a sitting on the floor carton, spread out like old times. Through the windows, Thebe shimmered with city lights. Somewhere behind me, the keys gleamed on's counter, a reminder of everything Thebe had been stolen and everything I'd taken back. Before bed, I texted, Grandpa moved in. Thank you forfeiting when I couldn't. His reply came a minute later. You always could, Evelyn. You just needed proof. I stared at that message until the screen dimmed. Proof of what they'd done and who I'd become. A month passed before I could sleep without waking in the middle of the night, expecting another secret to surface. But the investigation moved quickly. My parents' assets, both Sliss, the Malibu house, even the country club membership, were liquidated. The proceeds poured back into my account under my name where they should have always been. They moved into a roadside motel in Oakland. Grandpa told me in a quiet voice, they're paying restitution. $500 a month, court ordered. I didn't feel joy when he said it. Just balance. I settled into the apartment in Pacific Heights. Each morning, the fog rolled over the bay-like breath. I'd sit on the balcony with coffee laptop open. Freelancing again. Clients came fast referrals from Grandpa's network startups that needed branding. For once, I wasn't scrambling, I was building. Madison came over every weekend. We hung art, unpacked boxes, made the place ours. You realize, she said once, laughing? You could buy this wall building now. I don't want to own more things, I said. Just more peace. Weeks turned into months. My name was own everything now. Bank accounts, titles, deeds. But it wasn't the money that settled me. It was the ownership of my life. One evening, Grandpa invited me to dinner. He looked frailer but lighter as if some weight had lifted. You did what I couldn't, he told me. You drew a line. I smiled. You taught me how. That night driving home through the city, I passed the restaurant where it all began. Through the glass, people were laughing, toasting, unaware of how fast a family can fracture over greed. I didn't stop. Some chapters deserve to stay closed. Finally, I learned that blood doesn't always mean loyalty. My parents stole my future and called it love. But I took it back piece by piece, quietly, legally, completely. Now, when I look out over Thebe, I don't see what I lost. I see what Ty rebuilt. If you've ever been betrayed by the people you trusted most, remember this. You can still start over stronger than before. And if stories like mine hit close to home, stay with me. Then next one might sound uncomfortably familiar. Hit subscribe and don't look.